Hello everybody, this is Mr. Laubach. In this video, we are going to go over a very important court case from period 2. It is the John Peter Zenger case, which took place in New York in the 1730s and had to do with the freedom of speech. So who was John Peter Zenger? What was he accused of? And what was the long-lasting impact of the case? Now, no democracy has existed in the modern world without the existence of a free press. Newspapers, pamphlets, the internet, magazines, all allow for an exchange of ideas and for the voicing of dissent against the government. When a corrupt or simply bad government holds power, the press becomes a critical weapon. It organizes opposition and can help revolutionary ideas spread. The trial of John Peter Zenger, a New York printer, was an important step towards this most precious freedom for American colonists. John Peter Zenger was a German immigrant who printed a publication called the New York Weekly Journal. This publication harshly pointed out the actions of the corrupt royal governor of New York, William S. Cosby. The New York Weekly Journal accused the governor of rigging elections. It also accused the governor of an assortment of political corruption, schemes, and crimes, and basically labeled him an idiot. Although Zenger merely printed the articles, he was hauled into jail. The authors were anonymous, and Zenger would not name them, although most people knew who they were at the time. In 1733, Zenger was accused of seditious libel, a legal term whose meaning is quite different for us today than it was for him. In his day, it was libel when you published information that was opposed to the government. Truth and falsity were irrelevant. Zenger never denied printing the pieces. The judge, therefore, felt that the verdict was never in question. However, something surprising happened during the trial. The first jury was packed with individuals of Cosby's payroll, the governor. Throughout this process, Zenger's wife, Anna, kept the presses rolling. Her reports resulted in replacing Cosby's jury with a true jury of Zenger's peers. When the trial began and Zenger's new attorney began his defense, a stir fluttered through the courtroom. The most famous lawyer in the new colonies, Andrew Hamilton of Philadelphia, stepped up to defend Zenger. Now, don't confuse Andrew Hamilton with Alexander Hamilton, who wasn't even born yet at this point. Hamilton admitted that Zenger printed the charges and demanded the prosecution to prove them false. In a stirring appeal to the jury, Hamilton pleaded for his new client's release. A famous quote from the trial from Hamilton: "It is not the cause of one poor printer, but the cause of liberty." The judge ordered the jury to convict Zenger if they believe he printed the stories, not whether or not they were true. But the jury returned in less than 10 minutes of deliberation with a verdict of not guilty. Cheers filled the courtroom and soon spread throughout the colonies. Zenger and Hamilton were hailed as heroes. Another building block of liberty was in place. Although true freedom of press was not known until the passage of the First Amendment in 1791, newspaper publishers in the colonies felt freer to print their honest views. As the American Revolution approached, this freedom of the press would become even more vital. Now, this court case did not set a precedent and did not make freedom of the press universally accepted in the colonies, but it definitely was a watershed moment for freedom of the press in the Americas. It should be noted that this did not stop colonial governments from making oppressive laws to stop freedom of the press and speaking out against the British government. So I hope you learned something about Peter Zenger and the earlier fights for freedom of press in what eventually would become the United States. Thanks for listening and watching, and have a great remainder of the day.